Okay, everybody, it is time to perk up because I have a good one today for you. I have a really good movie. This is Phoenix, directed by Christian Petzold. I hope I'm saying that right. But this is a German film, and I love it. I love it so much, and it is by far my favorite film of the year. This is a film that I think is going to make a lot of really hardcore cinephiles happy because of how it pays homage to a lot of old post-war film noir films, particularly, you know, those black and white kind of old Hollywood type movies. But what's so great about this movie is that it never exploits those ideas. And it's a very subtle movie. It never feels like it's borrowing from a genre so much as that it's hinting at ideas from those genres. The film takes place in post-World War II Europe, and it is about a Holocaust survivor named Nellie. And she returns from the camps with a very badly injured face. And because of that, she has to go through reconstructive surgery so that she can have a face that looks, you know, like a person again. But the problem is that when she gets the surgery, I mean, she looks fine, but she's almost unrecognizable as herself compared to how she used to be. And so she's really upset that she will never have the same face that she once did before the war. She eventually finds her husband, who she sees is alive and well, but he doesn't recognize her. He only kind of says that she vaguely looks like his wife, who he thinks is dead. And rather than just saying that, you know, it's me, it's Nellie, she pretends to be someone else in order to see if her husband ultimately betrayed her and sold her out to the Nazis. When you see the film, it's very easy to compare this movie to Vertigo because there are a lot of the same ideas in the movie, because he is kind of slowly trying to build her to be his wife, you know, trying to get her to be someone that she is no longer, I guess. But I think that this film has a very interesting take on it. It is not a direct copy of Vertigo at all. It's actually quite different. It puts a real spin on that idea and gives it a whole another set of complexities. The film says so much about the society that it's rooted in, and to me, Nellie's reconstructive surgery is a metaphor for post-war Europe, because the world will never be the same as it once was, just like she will never be the same, and she yearns for those days before she had to endure, you know, such horrors. But what's so great about how the story goes along is how it slowly peels those layers off. And, you know, that's a great premise. Excuse me. It's a great premise, but the film explores a lot more layers that have to do with love and the romanticism of love and guilt, ultimately. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm kind of sitting back and thinking to myself, you know, why would she deceive her husband in this way? There are easier ways of going about figuring the information out that she wants to get, I think. But I realize that as the film goes on, you realize why she's doing what she's doing. I think that she feels a certain amount of shame in what has happened to her and being in the Holocaust, and she wants to forget about it. She's trying to block it from her memory and pretend like it never happened. But she's also using this deception in order to kind of romanticize how her life was before the war. Because, you know, she may have thought it was so wonderful, and her husband may have thought, oh, Nellie was this, you know, glowing thing or whatever beforehand. But really, I think that she's probably just romanticizing it. Was her life that great before? Maybe it was good, but I don't think it could have been that great, because we tend to, a lot of times, idealize what our lives were like back in the day. We say, oh, those were the good days, but really, were they that great, or are you just remembering the moments that were good? When we have already gone through something and it becomes part of the past, we already know the outcome of it. We know what happens. We know we come out of things okay, and we know that it was in our control. So suddenly it seems less difficult than it was. And you can certainly see that not only is she romanticizing her life originally, but he is as well. And that's part of why she's playing the role again, because she wants to fall in love with her husband all over again, like they did the first time. And she even says that in the movie. So both of their motivations are very laced in deceit. Her husband, Johnny, is a whole different type of animal. I mean, the logical assumption one would make about him is that, okay, come on, really? You cannot tell that that's your wife. She's got the same voice and the same... I mean, it seems like it's implausible. And it's easy to think that, oh, he's just an idiot. But I think on some level that he absolutely does recognize that this is his wife in his subconscious, and he's sort of, just like she is trying to block a certain part of her life and pretend like it never happened, he is forcing himself to not admit that it is his wife. He is in denial in a different way. He's trying to protect himself because personally, I think that he feels tremendous guilt, or at least the actor who portrayed him just gave that sense. So not only is this movie about transforming into a new world and into new people, but it's also about how we view the old world and how the two can affect each other, and it's not always pleasant. For the people that are more kind of realists, the plot of this may seem a bit far-fetched, but to me, the more I thought about the movie after I saw it, the more I realized that it is very aware of its conceits. Because when you think about it, as the movie's going on, they use these metaphors for the art of performance in order to kind of frame the situations that are going on. Like, for instance, the two main characters are musicians, and there are references to old songs and Hollywood movie stars, and there are nightclubs, which makes you realize that no matter how implausible something is, that when it is masked in illusion, we will believe anything. And that's part of the theatricality of it. And that's why this movie does remind me of films that are like Notorious, Alfred Hitchcock also, that's another film, and definitely The Third Man, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite film noir of all time. Because the characters and the themes in those movies are heavily influenced by the war as its backdrop. But as I said, the film barely hints at those influences. I mean, they're definitely there, but they are never once kind of pointed out. I mean, this is like the opposite of a Quentin Tarantino film. The movie is not trying to draw attention to its influences or the elements that are building the film itself. The performances in this film, there are really three main characters in it, are just amazing and so nuanced and so multifaceted, and the dialogue is very sparse. It's very much kind of seemingly trying to drive the plot forward rather than just kind of being there for the sake of dialogue. But the intent is there. The intent behind the dialogue is there in the acting and the motivations of the characters. And each line does kind of drop very quiet hints about who these characters are and why they're doing what they're doing. There is not a moment in this film that feels wasted, that feels trite. Everything is just perfectly built. There's no fat to trim here at all. I honestly think it is a near perfect film. And let me tell you, I mean, it takes a master filmmaker and writer and crew to be able to make something look so simple. I mean, I know it looks easy, but that's the point. So, you know, I have major respect. It's amazing. It is amazing. I don't know what else I can say about it other than that. You have to see it if you are a film fan. So yeah, turn off the Real Housewives of whatever county, get off your couch, go see this movie, because you are going to see what true art is, and it's going to make you think, and it is going to stay with you. I'm pretty positive of that. So yeah, that is my review. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, the link is below, and you can also like my Facebook page in the link below that. Catch you next time.